All right, guys, I have been using ChatGPT for the last 2 years, and this last weekend, I had a friend come over who swore by Gemini 3 has come out, and the ability for Gemini to actually see what's in your browser really piqued my interest. This is some web developer that was using this, and he was like, dude, you got to try it. It's incredible. So today, I am going to try Gemini to help me write a simple script inside of Airtable for a client's base. And I want you to come along for the ride as we try this out. So I'm going to dive in here and just give you some context. What I'm trying to do today is we built a base here, or a page, an interface in Airtable for a client, and they have their sales reps review all the projects that have closed out in the last week prior to their formal job analysis review meeting. And they said, hey, Chris, could you get us at the end of a job? We want to see the total number of hours and a list of all the people that worked on a given job, so that the sales rep doesn't have to go dig into the details. Obviously, we know that it's there. I could expand the record and make some interface page. So they have something like this that's like Javier worked 10, Jose worked 10, Brian worked 10, and so on. And so what they're asking me for is, can you come up with just a simple script that when they come in here, all of the people and the number of hours are shown? So, of course, the answer is like, well, of course, that's possible. So I'm just going to give you a quick tour of the data structure in the base and think through out loud how I'm planning on doing this. So to explain this, I'm just going to give you a quick summary of how we lay out the jobs and projects inside of our base. So we treat every deal that a sales rep closes as a job inside of Airtable, and then we create sub projects under that job. And then all of the time entries are tied specifically to the project, and then those are rolled up into the job. So what we're reviewing in this client's base is job results. But again, the time logs are not connected directly to the job. They're connected to the project, which is like a child of the job. So what that means in the back end here, we have our jobs table, and then we have, this is a lookup field to the projects, looking up all the time logs. So in the time logs table, you can see here that we have a time log that has an associated employee that worked those hours, which project they were clocked into. And because I have the project they were clocked into, I then know that the job that they were clocked into, and I can then do a lookup of that time log's associated job record ID here. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, just thinking through this out loud, I need every time that a job is added to this table, and actually we're just going to start with Gemini right now. So let's turn on my text to speech, and I'm just going to begin talking to Gemini. And I'm realizing that in order for me to show you what Gemini looks like, I'm going to have to share the entire screen. So let's give this a shot. So I think we're just going to jump right in here with Gemini. So I'm going to turn on my text to speech, start listening. All right, so here we go, Gemini. All right, this is a interface that is going to take the job that enters this interface, and using the record ID that triggered the Airtable script, I want to go to the time logs table, and I need to pull all of the time logs that are associated or have a matching job record ID, and create a unique list of the employees that worked those time entries, and then sum up how many hours each of those employees worked, rounded to the nearest half an hour. What questions do you have for me to be able to write this script inside of Airtable? And again, you can use the context from this base. If you want me to go to a different tab or the data table, let me know, and then ask me some questions before we start writing. Let's see what it comes up with here. It's creating an Airtable developing summarization based on the job analysis breakdown interface. I'm looking at summary, contains data like that. Is the table literally named time logs? So, and actually, if you could just zoom in on these questions, just answer them as I'm reading them. All right, so you guys can read the questions on screen. I'm just going to answer them as I read them logs. And the linking field in time logs is, well, actually the field that we're going to use is, and I'm going to go to that right now. So here is the time logs table. you can see that there is a field that is called job record ID, and that would be the same record ID as the record that triggered the automation to begin with. So when the automation is kicked off, you're going to go in and find all the record ID or all the time logs that match the record ID that started the automation. And remember, there is no field that links back to the job. It's just the project that is a child of the job. And so we're looking up the job record ID by way of the associated project. And again, that field, as you can see in the screenshot here, is job record ID. The hours field you can also see in here is called hours worked. And then there's also in the jobs table, the field that I'm writing the data back to is called an example of how I would like the output to be. I'll paste down below. And for the rounding logistics, I would say round up to the nearest half hour. What other questions do you have for me? Ooh, I actually have an idea here during it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up a tab for the data, and this is going to be for that's fine, load view as is. So here's my time logs. I'm going to open up another one for let's do open link. So this is my time logs. This is going to be my jobs. And I don't need any of this stuff. And then in the time logs one, I hide everything except for the job record ID and the hours worked and the employee. Okay, so this should give all the tabs that we need for this. Let's go into the script itself. And the way I'm going to create this is just going to be run script, and we're going to have the inputs of the script be job and be there. So now you should have all the tabs that are going to be relevant. I have the script tab with the input config variable that we're going to use. I have a tab for the jobs table and a tab for the time logs table. This is fantastic. Let's see what happens. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot. I did not give you an example of what I want the output to look like. Do you have any other questions for me before you create the script? And by the way, guys, if this is interesting to you, this is the type of stuff that our company does. This entire base that you're looking at, this custom base that we have built out after working with 25 painting companies, we've come up with what I believe is the perfect structure for an Airtable base that is going to be used as a project management system for a painting company. So if you are a large scaling painting company, reach out to us because this is what we do. We implement this and then we customize it doing things like this inside the base. So if you're interested, don't hesitate. We do free consultations. Happy to point you in the right direction if we're not a good fit as well. All right, let's see what Gemini has for us. Looking at your jobs and time log, I do have two quick clarifying questions. I see full names like that. However, you're wanting the script to shorten the names, first name, last name, or should I just print the full names as it appears? Let's do first name, last initial. 0 hour entries. I noticed in your time logs that some entries have 0 hours worked. Should the script exclude employees if their total rounded hours being 0? Yes, exclude those employees if hours is 0. All right, so we're submitting that, and now he's going to come up with a script for us. And let's go back to here because this is where we're going to be putting it in. And this, I do have to say, like, this is just pretty cool that you can do this inside of the browser. And I'm even noticing here that It's got some highlights on which tabs are being referenced. And there's also this like blue line around the tab that I'm in. Kind of cool. So I'm just going to copy it. I'm not even checking the code. We will see how it did. So it did get the input config record ID. So just to be clear, if you look at the script page, I'm using job record ID as the input config variable. Can you confirm that's what you're doing? Copy. All right, let's go ahead and give this a shot. So we're going to go here. Let's record. And the test record that we're going to use is this JPMC. So let's go to the interface page. And we can go to dashboard, breakdown. All right, so let's do the North United Methodist, do that one. So our test record, we're going to go to the script, test action. Summary updated. Let's go check it out. Did it do it? So I tried running it and it said it updated the record, but it output nothing on the record that it was supposed to. What could be going on here? Do you have any suggestions? So we're going to copy that. We'll paste this new one back in. And there's the final jump generated. So let's go take a look. Did it get that this time? Boom, it did. So in my script here, all I'm doing is when job analysis queue is checked, that's the trigger. So if I update this and come back to here, we should be able to see right here, if let's do one of these. So I just checked that box, and in a moment here, we should see some hours pop up. And the add to queue, this is what's making it go into this interface anyway. So it looks like that worked. And now let's go ahead, and I'm just going to do this for all of them. So we're going to clear these out. Let's do the preview, clear, and undo. So we're bringing them all back. So we should get time logs popping up in all of these. And that's going to be the wrap of the test of Gemini. But if this works, I mean, I have to say, this is like, in my opinion, oh, that is fantastic. Look at that. I could change this probably to have some extra tall columns just so we get to see everything. Maybe not extra tall, let's just do tall. That looks good. And we'll keep the grouping by sales rep. So if I'm Brandon, I can come in and see all the ones that were on that project. That looks great. And all these other ones look like they're still getting populated. I assume they're still running. Yep, it's just hammering through those. But that's it, guys. I mean, this is very exciting. I don't know about you, but if you haven't tried Gemini, I mean, I would get on it. I'm going to be using it for several other modifications to Airtable, and the table is inside of the browser completely, and you can now have Gemini run and modify and correct and fix scripts. I mean, this seems like an absolute game change, and I'm pretty excited about this. So we'll see you in the next video. Let us know if there's other things that you'd like me to highlight or show or walk through. Always open. Send me an email with your suggestions on potential videos.